You are watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juan.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leck. And
together we are
Lootcrate.
How's every single you family? We're here to talk about Smackdown. Jean-Paul, Smackdown that had a really interesting ending. I will say pretty much the whole show was kind of like unimportant. It didn't really get a lot of people's attention. I think that SmackDown sometimes, Jean-Paul, it's becoming more like a show, more like based on like the storytelling rather than focus on the wrestling itself.
Well, yeah, you would say this is more of like the soap opera.
Yeah.
A soap opera that that stars wrestlers instead of a wrestling show. But yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. They care more about the drama than the actual wrestling. But the whole main point of this, because it was the Go Home show, the final main roster show before Payback. It was, Postman Adam Pearce was just supposed to go around and get these 3 signatures. Now, I actually like this better than, let's do a contract signing because somebody's going to get put through a table and then Roman's going to spear everybody and ooh-ah. It's like, no. So this actually was like a change of pace and it was kind of cool. But of course, it was a little hokey, but we did see the big man himself, Vince McMahon. So
yes,
and that was, you will. Some people love him, some people hate him, but
Hey, but is the man that we talk about this because of that man. So I really have to agree with you on that. And the show was average, a little bit of we had a returning Sami Zayn, let's go, yeah. So it was he comes back to in a CM Punk fashion. Remember with John Cena? Oh, I'm the WWE champion. Oh, well, I'm the WWE champion. So a lot of interesting things. So there's a lot to talk about. So let's start, Jean-Paul. Thank you so very much, family, for watching every single one of the content. Thank you for all the love and support for the AEW Dynamite review. Thank you. Even Dynamite got a boost in the ratings. We got a boost in our ratings. So legit stuff. Thank you, family. So Jean-Paul said, the show started out with Postman Adam Pearce. He had security. A lot of guys that probably have indie wrestlers, and they were saying, hey, we're gonna do our best to avoid any interactions between the Fiend, Strowman, and the big dog Roman Reigns. So that was Strowman, and he didn't actually was able to hurt anybody this time. He kind of looked funny with his new in-ring gear, I will say. But it was cool that the Adam Pearce is pretty much the general manager of SmackDown, or the person in charge of SmackDown. But like Jean-Paul said, we got to see the big man right there, Vince McMahon.
There he is.
Yeah, and he was like Jean-Paul was saying, the main mission of this of the show in Vince's involvement, it was Vince goes hey, you gotta get the signatures of the 3 men, and now it's gonna be a no holds bar, right, Jean-Paul? This man,
I think they said that on Monday Night Raw. Or at least that wasn't announced tonight, unless I just thought it in my head and it was announced tonight. But I'm pretty sure they said that maybe at least Wednesday or Monday, whenever. But I think that benefits.
The nose, Jean-Paul. Let's see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was a no holds bar.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think it benefits the match because also aren't triple threats no DQ anyway.
Yeah.
So it's oh, okay, it's. That's like saying, the grass is green. It's yeah, no shit. But I don't know. I mean, I'm excited for it just because of what we got in the main event. I think that adds a little bit more intrigue to it because the outcome that's pretty predictable might not be as bad as we're all expecting it.
Yeah, well, the main event where we got it was really, really a swerve Scott. It was a really change of pace and something that I think no person in God's green era was thinking.
No, well, I would say, I mean, okay, because everybody saw it, and then they want to know what did Rope Break think. So it's okay, Roman Reigns aligned himself with Paul Heyman. He turned heel. We'll talk more in detail, but I think a lot of people maybe saw Roman turning heel, but not aligning himself with Heyman. I think that was the biggest swerve of them all. Because I kind of was thinking they're going to do Roman heel the way that he was just what is it? It's not spear everybody. What is it? Wreck everybody and leave or something?
Yeah, wreck everybody. Yes.
Yeah. So it's okay, that's kind of not really a babyface thing. He looked like a heel, looked pissed off, and how he was avoiding Adam Pearce because I think that was the first one. No, he went to Bray first, but then
he went to Bray first. Yeah, but let's start with with the show. Let's start with the fair segment, and that's that was Jeff Hardy going against Shinsuke Nakamura. But before they have the match, AJ Styles, he comes out and he pretty much is calling Jeff Hardy a cheater, hey, I know why you use the knee brace, like you stole that championship out of me. So, you know, pretty much calling him a cheater, and he's like, oh, I'll get my championship at some point. But, like, you're just a cheater. You don't deserve to wear that belt. They had a good match. I really liked it. But help me out, Jean-Paul, with, like, the screw-up from Michael Cole.
Yeah, Michael Cole doing his thing. He's like, oh, you know, Shinsuke has an opportunity to, you know, earn his first Intercontinental Championship reign or title or whatever. And then it's like, huh? Like,
Really?
didn't he, wasn't he, you know, the first person to debut this new design? Like, you know, only 5 people have held the new belt, so it's like, okay, you know. But, I mean,
Like,
you know, the disrespect for, you know, Nakamura, you know, at least they treat Asuka legit, but Nakamura, it's like, so...
It is true, like, they always treat, like, Shinsuke really bad.
But this wasn't a bad match. I mean, was Jeff going to lose? No. I mean, AJ on commentary was kind of funny. He reminded, like, with Jericho, it's like, when Jericho's on commentary all the time, you kind of get like, sick of it. But I feel like AJ on commentary was like when Jericho first went on commentary, it was like, oh, this is nice. It breaks up, like, oh, now we don't have to hear Excalibur all the time. So, I mean, I didn't mind AJ being on commentary for this thing. And like I said, good match, but you knew Jeff Hardy was going to win. I like what he hit. I forget if he did a kick or what it was, but he hit him with the knee brace. And then AJ's like, look, did you see that? And he's like freaking out. And then,
he's like, oh,
Graves is like freaking out.
He keeps using it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he said. And then that opened up for like Twist of Fate. And then, of course, the Swanton Bomb and 1, 2, 3, he gains over Nakamura, and I agree with you. They always treat Shinsuke like absolute shit. We gotta say it, you know, Shinsuke is so legit, but I don't know why Asuka, like, at least he gets treated like fairly, but Shinsuke is just an afterthought, and he's been an afterthought ever since he went to the main roster. But like Jean-Paul was saying, I have news on you because you and I always talk about no more words. The wife said that, like, no more words will come back. They're Jeff Hardy's wife, not Shinsuke Nakamura's wife. Jeff Hardy's his wife. She said that no more words will come back when they have, like, real crowd. Crowd, you know, because I guess, you know, because of the Keith Lee thing, everybody's talking about theme songs. So, like, I guess that's what they
WWE, at this point, they might as well just be like, you know what? Okay, everybody whose theme song is bullshit, sucks, get rid of it, and just pay and get a whole bunch of new themes, and they should own the copyright for them forever, and then everything's legit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Pay for the forever copyright. I agree with you. But, like, after that, Jeff Hardy's celebrating, kind of like, and then he's like stare down with AJ Styles, and out of nowhere, let's go one more time, and then see, like, Sami Zayn make his return to the WWE. Completely unexpected, and it's still looking like Fidel Castro. So I don't know if he really
it looked like he didn't get a haircut or shave it. I mean, he could at least shave the beard.
Yeah,
it looked like he didn't shave the beard since, you know, March.
Since WrestleMania. Yeah, since WrestleMania. Yeah, like, at least he can trim it a little bit, but, like, he legit wants to be communist, and he wants to be like Fidel Castro because that's how he used to look. A young Fidel, that's how he looks. And, like, pretty much they have a stare down like we see in the picture, and they hold the belts, and it's like, oh, I'm the real Intercontinental Champion. Jeff Hardy's like, no, I am. And, like, AJ Styles is kind of looking at both of them, but in the distraction, he does the haluva kick onto Jeff Hardy. So that was cool. I mean, Sami Zayn coming back, like, I don't know if he had heat with, like, you know, the backstage in WWE, but, like, his return at least confirms that, like, he wants to, like, make things better, I guess, Jean-Paul? What do you think about it?
I mean, I'm excited for it. I don't remember if they announced anything, but I'd love to see these two guys in, like, a singles match. You know, you know, maybe not a Payback. They might want to build the story, but, you know, that would be legit to have, like, a unification between these two guys. Because if Sami Zayn actually wrestles, because as we saw later in the show, Cesaro and Nakamura really don't care for him anymore, so it's not like he has his lackeys. But, you know, if they actually wrestle, you know, this will be a hell of a match. So I'm excited for that. But
I agree.
The one thing is what you said about, oh, did he have heat or anything? Maybe this was like a Tommaso Ciampa situation where it's like, okay, well, we don't really have anything to do with you, Sammy. And it's like, well, I'm the Intercontinental Champ. And it's like, yeah, well, we don't have anything to do with you. So he was like, well, screw you guys. I'm going to sit at home. And then they forfeited the belt. I mean, I don't know how this all went, but he's back. And if he wrestles, then I'm happy he's back. But if it's the same running around, not wrestling, being bullshit, then I'll be like, dude, why did you even come back?
Yeah, like, if he wants to be El Generico, you know, legit. But if he wants to be Fidel, then we're not good.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, you know, yeah, let's go with, like, really glad that you're our friend. And this is Jean-Paul that will never, ever end. So we have, like, they're like, Rambling Rabbit is, like, polishing, like, the newly won Universal Championship by the Fiend Bray Wyatt. And then he kind of, like, talking about, like, he finally got something. something that he's been missing for the longest time, right, Jean Paul? He's like, I feel like I'm missing something. He's like, Woody, yowdy wowdy, Woody.
I was waiting for Alexa Bliss to come out, and
I know.
Like, Wee!
I know. Like I thought about that, but like no. Actually, like he gets the Universal Championship, and then he's like somebody's knocking on the door, and then I thought it was Alexa Bliss or Roman. So I thought that, but like it happened to be Adam Pearce again. This time dressed up like as a mailman.
Yeah.
So, or like, yeah. So
this is like me when I'm opening the door and then the mailman's like, "So here are your toys," and I'm like, "Okay, that's legit. Yep, let me sign here. Okay, yep, legit.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what, like he said, like you want to sign like the thing for your match at Payback, triple threat, no holds barred for the Universal Championship. So he ends up doing it, and he said, "Hey, let me in." And he did get serious at some point, and he was like, "Well, Roman, and like we haven't seen you in a while, but it's good." Because you and me have like a lot of unfinished business. So that was good, but then in the end, he actually ends it in a good note. It was like that, happy, no more like, let me in. It was kind of like, don't forget, let me in.
Yeah, and like, we said, Roman Reigns clearly looks heel now. Braun Strowman still, I would say, is heel, or at least he looks like he's going crazy. Like we said, he looks like one of the Hardy Boys now. But I think the Fiend he's got, I feel like they turned a babyface.
That's what
we see.
You told me
so I mean, we could see, and I mean, hey, maybe the change of sweater, he changed his the gimmick a little bit, so maybe he's babyface. Who knows?
Absolutely, like,
he's definitely the most popular and the fan favorite out of the three. Roman, Braun, and himself. He's definitely the favorite. So
Jean Paul, he didn't even get a chance to actually celebrate. And again, I really like this sweater. I'm gonna ask him where is he buying these sweaters because
that looks like Kohl's.
Oh, okay. Like maybe what, like $10, $10, $12?
No, a little more. I mean, things are going up. I'd say probably like $25, maybe $30.
Oh well, no, and then I'm getting it's like having like a WWE shirt, $25 for nothing. No, thank you. Nope. So now let's go to like the broski. He's back. Finally, because like this feud with like Baron Corbin is taking way too long, and he also needs a haircut. You can see right there.
He looks like Marco Stunt and Luchasaurus if they did the fusion dance in Dragon Ball Z.
Yes, yeah, right there. Yeah, that's Matt Riddle. I mean, and I really didn't like Jean Paul that like he kind of like the music starts, he starts to talk, and they go on commercial, and when they came back from commercial, they go.
I'm like Vince probably pops for the music. Like he probably thinks it's like the funniest shit, so he's like, "Oh, play it again." Because we saw even after the match he had, they like stopped it, played it, stopped it, played it. It's like what's going on? But Matt Riddle, I think he should have took his his medicine or whatever you want to call it, his his vape,
the juice,
yeah. He should have probably taken that maybe after this promo, because he's like, Corbin, you keep sending all these guys after me, man, and why don't you just face me yourself? And he's like, I'll knock that little crown off your big little head. And then even commentary was like, his big little head. They're like, what?
Like you said, he was probably, maybe a little bit of Mary Jane right there. Who knows? But like, yeah. And then pretty much also Corbin came out, but Corbin accepts the match, but in the name of Chuck, not Chucky T, no, like in the name of our Chad Gable.
Shorty G.
Shorty Gable or Shorty G, so like he accepts that, and the match was like Jean Paul, what, like 2 seconds? Like 2 punches.
Chad Gable. I mean, I hope Chad Gable's at least happy he's on TV because his portrayal is like, I'd rather just sit in catering and eat mashed potatoes and brownies.
Yes, yeah, because it was like Bro Derek right there, quick and that's it. Like Matt Riddle pretty much like just dominated the whole thing, and theirs only was like to set up finally the King Corbin kind of promo afterwards, where finally they're gonna have a match at Payback. So that match is official. So Matt Riddle is excited because finally he's gonna have a match. See, he's like holding like he's married, like admit a little bit of Mary Jane right there. So it's cool. We're happy for him, and I think that like. Hopefully after this feud is over because it has not been good at all. What do you think?
No, I mean, Baron Corbin, it's so hard to say with Baron Corbin, man. Like, I don't hate him in the ring, and he's not even bad at, like, delivering a promo. It's just, like, the actual words and what he says. You're just like, shut up. Like, you just don't care. Yeah. Like, you don't hate him as like a heel, like we said, like with Brody Lee, and like you don't hate him in the sense where it's like, oh, you're dastardly and we want to see you get beat up. We hate him because it's like, dude, everything you say pisses us off and we just want you off our TV. That's Baron Corbin. And I mean, maybe I feel like they're kind of making him that way. So when he does get his ass kicked, we're like goods. Because, you know, you want people to cheer for Matt Riddle. He's the obvious babyface. So maybe that's why they make him so insufferable. I don't know. But, you know, I'm excited for the match just because I think it's like, okay, Matt Riddle's going to win. Then whatever they're going to do with, you know, Jeff Hardy and Sami Zayn, blah, blah, blah after that. You know, maybe we see another match between Riddle and AJ, and then that's for a #1 contender, and then they go on to go whoever beats, you know, Jeff and Sami Zayn. Like, I feel like that's a really good Intercontinental Championship, you know, mid-card.
Victory. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they have, like, 4 guys that are really good, and, like, the main thing is, like you said, hopefully Sammy is actually wrestling. So, yes. Like, they had a promo with Sammy also. Like, he was actually walking around right there, like, actually for him, so like, Kayla Braxton was able to catch him, and he's like, hey, you know, what happened? Like, after WrestleMania, what were you done for, like, 5 months and stuff? And he pretty much said, hey, I don't need to give you any explanation. I don't need to tell you anything. You know, and then he starts talking French, and he did say, I'm le champion. Yeah. So I don't know what the hell
she was like, what's going on? He's like, you know, he started singing Judas. And
yeah, like,
he's like, oh, yeah.
That's what he was thinking, you know, like, right there. You know,
he's like, what have I become? You know?
Yeah. You know, we go from that, like, you know, Sammy. So I'm like, what the heck? Like, why are you le champion? So it was good. I mean, a good promo.
I'm becoming El Generico.
Yeah, Judas is a great song. But like now, Jean Paul, let's go to the Golden Role Models. Sasha Banks and Bayley. They had like, of course, like every single show. Unfortunately, I mean, it's not that I don't like them. You know, I really think that like this whole run for both of them has been really beneficial. Like finally, they've been able to be legit for the longest time. They legitimize themselves one more time. But like every single time, like they have a promo, is like kind of like becoming a little tiring for me. But like this one, I did like. Why? Because like pretty much you can see that Bayley is throwing like, you know, like the darts at the Sasha Banks. It's poking out the wound. You know,
yeah,
like, hey, definitely... you know, I should have known that, like, you know, you're not able to defend your title. I should have never told you to, like, challenge Asuka. I should have just, you know, do it myself. But, you know, like, it's all good because it's like when it comes to tag team belts, it's like you and me together. It's not just going to be you by yourself. So you see that, like, the Bayley is, like, starting to really turn, make things a little, like, different now. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah, and at first, you know, I said a couple weeks ago, I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe Bayley might be the babyface. They might switch it back to that, but now they're really cementing it, you know, that it's, no, Bayley is the heel. Because like you said, all these little subtle digs, like, oh, yeah, you know, you couldn't beat her. Like, I don't even know why I put you in that, you know, situation. I'm sorry, you know. Then, of course, she was like, can we move on? Because Sasha had, like, cow print pants. So,
well, look at this, Jean-Paul. But see, look at the look that Sasha is giving her, right there.
Oh, yeah. Right there. Yeah. After, when they lose, because, of course, then we saw Ursula the Sea Witch and Shayna Baszler. We saw them on the screen.
Yeah, this was bad. Like, I'm going to tell you, like, this Halloween right here, Jean-Paul. Boom.
Yep. Look at this. Like, yep. That's what I said. It's Ursula. Yep. The Little Mermaid. Yep. And, I mean, this, you know, it was bad, but if we get what we all wanted for the longest time, which is Bayley and Sasha going against each other on the main roster in a legit way with a legit feud, then I'm fine with it. And, you know, you give these two women the tag belts. The only good thing I'll say from this is Shayna Baszler has gold on the main roster. That's the only good thing that'll come from this.
I can agree with you because that's the only reason that I can actually accept this, because if this is your picture on Tinder, no wonder you get a lot of hits. You know, this is awful. And pretty much they said that, like, hey, you know, they interrupted Bayley and Sasha, and they're like, why you guys keep talking about you instead of, like, focusing on about us, you know, and how you're going to beat us. You know, you're not saying anything about winning, and then Sasha's like, we don't need to talk about winning because that's what we do all the time, and that's what's going to happen on Sunday. So that was pretty much the end of the segment. You know, very anticlimactic, nothing. You know, that was it. So, like, pretty much that, I didn't find any...
Yeah, and the earlier thing I want to touch on quick, we said it's like, okay, you know, we like Bayley and Sasha. We like the run that they're having, but, you know, it's just like, it's because, you know, every single Monday and every single Friday there's going to be a Golden Role Model segment. Yeah. There is, and, you know, sometimes even on NXT we were seeing them, and it's like they're so overexposed where it's like, you know, if they showed you Andre the Giant every week, eventually you'd get sick of seeing Andre the Giant. Yeah. So it doesn't matter who you are. when you're overexposed, you know, the fans get kind of like
even they merge Jean Paul with like, see, like for example, like this match. See, like it's Biggie, Tucker, and Odie. You know, like they merge on that. It's like, what, really? Like, do you have to be involved in the whole show? I don't really.
And I remember on Monday Night Raw when they were talking to Kevin Owens or Drew McIntyre or whoever that was, and they, you know, it's like, yeah, you see him with everybody. And I said I do like the interaction backstage, but it's like, you know, not like, why does it always have to be the golden role models? Like, I understand that. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Bayley. You know, I could see her in every segment and I'd be fine with it, but you know, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, enough's enough. But leave him off TV.
Yeah. But that's Jean Paul thinking with the other head, you know, not thinking with the good head. But like, we got to see like Drew Gulak. He's actually, he beat Strowman. He hit him with like a chair shot. Yeah, and he's like, okay, he hit me last week and all of that in the lumberjack, or like, yeah, the attack that they have with Retribution. But no, you know, like he didn't do anything. And look, dressed as like the Hardy Boys. I don't know why, but like he changed his outfit to the Hardy Boys, you know, in 97, 98. I don't know why. Showing the nipple. I don't know, like, and you know, Adam Pearce looks like Shawn Michaels. I don't know, from this side, he looks exactly like Shawn Michaels. So he's pretty much saying, hey, I'll sign that damn thing, but if you give me a match with like Drew Gulak right now. So he's like, hey, bro, you got it. Because actually Drew Gulak threw the chair at Adam Pearce to make it seem like Adam like beats Strowman with that. So like, no, you know, I didn't do anything. And in the worst fashion possible, Strowman right away believes Adam Pearce. So the match, you know, go ahead.
Okay, so, hey, Braun, I want you to sign this contract that is letting you into a match to earn back the highest fucking belt on this show and the second highest in the company. And Braun says, no, unless you give me a match with so-and-so. What, you know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense at all. It should be like, well, screw you, dude. If you don't want a title opportunity, then it'll be us, you know, one-on-one.
Find somebody that, you know, find somebody that.
Then I'll get AJ to go against the Fiend and Roman. It's like, really? Like, why would you? He should have signed it, and then when Pierce goes to walk away, he grabs him and he says, "I'm not finished with you." And then like he
I want a match with Gulak now.
Yeah,
and that's it. And you know, of course, we knew there was going to be like 3 seconds, and that's what it was. Running power slam, done.
But like, really, I mean, he can't like at least like he could have ripped the shirt off. Like you're gonna, I mean, because to me that just shows disrespect to Drew Gulak.
Yeah, well, and looking like the Hardy Boys, I'm telling you, like he's like the third Hardy Boy right now. You know, like every time the kid comes out, like what the hell? I don't get it.
When they were managed by what was his name?
Michael Hayes.
Yeah, it's like they're managed by Michael Hayes, but Michael Hayes, like, you know, absorbed their youth, and then that's Braun Strowman.
And then, like you said, after that, then he signs. You know, it's like, do you want Rover? He's like, can you get an autograph for Road Break for Jean Paul and Juan? Damn right, I'm gonna sign.
Yep, and he's like, they're gonna sell it immediately on eBay because they hate you.
Yeah, because we're marks. That's what we're gonna do. So like that's then Adam Pearce was like looking for the big dog. So he's right there. He says big dog or Roman Reigns. You know, so like he kind of like knocks on the door, but not nobody. Like he's like Aleister Black, and so like he couldn't even find him. But you know, like that's pretty much the theme of the show. He was kind of looking for them. Even like he went to McMahon at some point, and he's like, "Hey, I have not been able to find them." And then he's like, "Well, just make sure that all of them need to sign the contract."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, so what are you trying to say? That 2 out of 3 ain't bad?" He's like, "Well, it is. You need 3 out of 3," and it's like Vince is like he's not good or funny or clever with the promos anymore. So I'm like, like come on, man.
Especially on this situation that they make him look like kind of like serious, like it doesn't look cool, it doesn't look great. But now we have like Jean Paul was mentioning, like Sami Zayn is actually returns because like Cesaro and Nakamura, they were talking about, you know, how Nakamura lost to Jeff Hardy, and he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry I didn't come out to help you, but you know we're the tag champs, and you're gonna be by my side when we go out. Like, and I'm gonna face Kalisto, right?" So Sammy comes in, is like, so he thought like they were family. He's like, yeah, Robert is legit. Oh yeah, what's up, guys?
Yeah, like, this reminds me of another story with someone who is like, you know, they can be an asshole and they can go off and be crazy, and then the next day they try to act like they're legit, and they're like, oh, you know, it hurt me that because I thought we were family, and then the other two are like, family. This guy is bullshit.
Yeah, this guy sucks. So like, pretty much that's what they did. They no-sold him. Like Nakamura is like, even like in his English, he goes 4 months. You know, you're like, okay, so 4 months didn't reach out to them. He's like, I'm gonna put the IC belt right next to your tag belt. He's like, no. Like, and Cesaro goes like, hey, can we finish this conversation because we're a tag team? So it's like team, and it's like, oh, okay. So like Sammy pretty much feels like he's like done, so he walks away, and then like Cesaro and Nakamura kind of are planning like what they're gonna do with like the Lucha House Party, and Kalisto also like says to like Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado is like, I can do this by myself, so I don't need you guys. It's legit. I can do this on my own. We're good. When he's going to the ring, then boom, Cesaro and Nakamura attack Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik.
I have one complaint. I have no problem with the Sami Zayn, the interaction with them. And then everything with Kalisto, the dissension in the Lucha House Party. I don't like that if they break them up and then do nothing with them. But if they kind of want to do a singles run heel Kalisto and the other two are still a babyface team, then I'm fine with it. But I don't like how they played Kalisto's music. And then when they got beat up, like the other two, Lindsay and Grand Metalik got beat up, the music stopped.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, why would the music stop when they get beat up? The music is for Kalisto.
And the story that they're trying to tell is that Kalisto didn't know that like they were being beat up. But anyway, Jean Paul. But yeah, it was
Kevin was happy with starting and stopping music tonight, I guess.
I guess there was something going on with it. Maybe it was Retribution, Jean Paul, because there was no word of Retribution.
By the way, I was going to say too. That was a letdown.
Yeah, that was a letdown because after what happened on Monday Night Raw, and we don't get anything from them. But again, WWE playing this year day by day. Probably they're done with it. So Mia Yim go back to NXT, Dijakobi go back to NXT, Kid and Carter go back, all of them. So here, the match was like semi decent. Cesaro is always good. Kalisto is a great wrestler, but again, they treat him like crap. So pretty much there was a lot of interactions outside because Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik were like attacking Nakamura, and that opened the way for Cesaro to get the win, and then he won. And
because Kalisto was like, listen, guys, like before the thing, like we said, he told them like, you guys are bullshit. Just stay back here, whatever. Beat up the piñatas because Vince is racist, and I'll win this match. And then as soon as Nakamura was out, and then the other two came out to beat up Nakamura, I was like, this is gonna end 1, 2, 3. Cesaro is gonna pin, roll up, whatever. He's gonna get the victory, and then it's gonna cause more dissension. And that to me took me out of it because I did like the beginning of it, but once it broke down, it became obvious, and I was like, I really don't care.
And you're still dissension from between the three of them. So and Kalisto was trying to reconcile. He was like, okay, we got what we had. It's all good. Let's move on. Let's put this behind and then just move on. But you see that the dissension is right there. They're not doing great. So probably, like you said, they're going to end up breaking them up, and then we'll see what they do after that. That's the big question.
Yeah, but they would be legit if they would have be portrayed good and, all his baby faces, because I know 3 other, luchador heels that they could go against on NXT. Yeah. That would be legit, but
Legado del Fantasma, baby. But no, we'll see what they do with them. So, that's what we had, Jean Paul. The next segment is actually from Alexa Bliss because Nikki Cross is talking to Tamina. And they're like, hey, how's Lexi doing? And Nikki Cross is holding the mug that Alexa had given her when they were best friends, and Alexa shows up out of nowhere really quick, and she's debuting a new look, like Jean Paul said, piggy tail and kind of the braids like the Fiend, and that's what Nikki Cross says. It's like, hey, Lexi, that reminds me of the Fiend. So it's but I like it because it reminds me of Alexa when she was trying to be Harley Quinn. So
that's what I mean. Yeah, it's definitely going for that kind of vibe where it's more. She's not just like, oh, look at me, I'm hot, and I'm Nikki Cross's best friend. It's no, there's clearly a gimmick change, and like you said, when Nikki Cross asked her oh, what's going on? Why are you hanging out with the Fiend? You're different. Alexa Bliss blew up on her, and she took that mug, threw it on the ground, stared her in the face. That was actually real intense. Tamina's like, what the hell? It's like, Tamina, you should just happen to be on TV. So, just stand there and I would say look pretty, but, just stand there. And then Alexa Bliss, I mean, this was good. Normally when Alexa Bliss, I'm like, but everything with this storyline has been good. I like this change. It's not just because like we said, she was pissed because they brought back Roman and that completely, changed the plans for the main event on Sunday. So now they're doing something right with her. Okay, they're not completely dropping the ball and the gimmick completely. So that's good to see it. So I'm fine with it.
So the Jean Paul main event time, and this was I don't know why this is called a main event, but it's a 6-man tag. It's like, you know, Heavy Machinery when Big E against Sheamus and Miz and Morrison. Like, Talking Smack is back, and that's like with Xavier Woods and Kayla Braxton, but Xavier is not there, so The Miz was hosting it, and there was like a back and forth between Big E and The Miz. Oh, you've been handing opportunities, kind of like you said, the same thing that like Daniel Bryan did like 4 years ago. So they're kind of trying to play that out one more time, but this match was absolutely unnecessary. Like 20 minutes because of all the commercial breaks and everything of the show. That like, they could use something else somewhere else. No.
And to be honest, I couldn't get into this thing, and because it was, you know, Sheamus wasn't really, like, he wasn't tagging in, and he was like, oh, screw this fella, and I think at the first commercial break he like rang the bell, and then Michael Cole was like, what the hell's going on? Like, why are you ringing the bell? The match isn't over. And I'm like, you know, Sheamus, okay, that was the one thing I like, because maybe he was like, this is bullshit. He was trying to do himself a favor and end the match.
He knew. He's like, oh, this is bullshit. So it's like, I'm done. And then that's why he didn't want to lose. But in the end, they end up losing because, of course, the babyfaces got to get the win. And Big E, they're trying to keep pushing him, but we still is unclear where
who was the guy who got his ass kicked most of the match?
I was Odie or Tucker.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, and John Morrison, I feel like got beat down a lot too. Like, I don't know why I always feel like John Morrison's the guy getting his ass kicked.
And John Morrison is legit, but like he has to go with Taya one more time and be in Wrestle House. That's what I will say.
I'd rather see him in Wrestle House than see him be hey hey ho ho.
Well, yeah, because like there's not doing anything with him, and you know that's pretty much the picture that we have for you guys. That's like baby faces getting the win. But you know, like I said, if this was the main event, this is as bad as yesterday, Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy in the tables match. Yep. This is as bad because it's not interesting, it's not good. It was rushed, like you said, when Sheamus started like ringing the bell, and then Michael Cole, oh, the match is not over yet. It's like everybody's like, what? Even the rest,
like we wish it was. But this wasn't technical. It was the main event match, but there was something after this, which I feel like kind of saved the show a little bit. It made it, like, intrigue for Sunday.
Adam Pearce goes to Roman Reigns, and Roman says, "Yeah, I'm going to sign it. You know, I'm going to this time. No problem, no drama here. Is legit." And then he says, "But I'm going to get my Universal Championship that I never lost because when he got the cancer, he had to just relinquish, like Karrion did with his own injury." And it's not a prediction. It's what, Jean Paul?
It's a spoiler. And then see when he said that, I was like, okay, that's legit. And I didn't think it was going to be Heyman. I thought he was just going to quote Heyman, and then that was going to be like, oh, he's heel or something. Or I'm like, oh, God, maybe they're hitting at a return at Lesnar, and we're going to see Brock and Roman, match number 17. But no, and then the camera zooms, and there we see, Mr. ECW, Paul Heyman, there he is. He's sitting right there, and it's, this is definitely interesting because now we know, I would say pretty much 100% that Roman's heel. So that to me is cool. People have wanted him to be heel for the longest time. We're finally seeing it, and I think that makes more sense because we've been saying that the Fiend is so over. You turn a babyface, and it's like, how could you turn a guy babyface that carries a severed head as a lantern? To the ring, and it's like, hey, look at The Undertaker. The Fiend is just as scary today as The Undertaker was in the early 90s, and, after 2 years, people loved him, so, people were cheering him, so.
I mean, like we were talking off camera, like, I'm not a big fan of this, but, like, I feel like if they play it out well, it could work. At least, personally, I'm not a fan, but, like, I see for the storyline purposes, finally Roman is heel, and, having Paul Heyman, he can cut the best promos because Roman is not a great promo.
And listen to this. You have Paul Heyman. Let's get a stable going now. Let's get the Usos. Because the Usos were best when they were heel. Uso Penitentiary, day one-ish. You're out of here. You're done. We're gonna send you to the penitentiary. That's when they were legit.
And they're close to coming back. So
turn them heel. Debut them with Roman. And I won't even care if you give them if they give Roman the Universal Championship and you want to give them the tag belts. I'm fine with it. Just so if you want to have that image, all of them holding up the belts, it will be legit. With Heyman standing there like, it will be cool. Do it. But you got to turn them all heel. Everybody's got to be heel, and they got to be badasses. Because then you can have the baby faces. It don't have to be another faction. It can just be a random group of guys. Oh, we got to take down the Samoan bloodline because they're, running SmackDown. They have, all the belts pretty much. Yeah, so that would be cool, but if they don't book it like that and they just give it like Roman is just, Superman but evil, then it's like, okay.
No, I see, even they're listening. It's like, how are they going to book us, Jean Paul?
Yeah.
Is that what they want us to do? And like, look at Heyman. He's like, that looks
That's
good.
yeah. I mean,
that's a good idea.
If they want to have me on, I mean, we can tweak my ideas. We don't got to go word for word what I say, but I think it's a pretty good idea.
That's what we have. So like, it's a pretty interesting, way of ending the show because there's a lot of things that can happen. We're gonna be covering Payback, of course, like Robert always does. But like I said, I don't know if it's gonna be as good. But like, see, you like this thing. Personally, I want to see where it goes first. But like, at least we understand. For example, when Stone Cold became heel, he aligned himself to McMahon. At least Roman is aligning himself with Heyman. Is good.
Yeah,
I think
the one thing
is a good idea.
The one thing I will say though, I don't know if I would compare the two of them because Stone Cold was so over, and Roman is only like partially over. He's over with like
women.
Yeah, well, I will say he's over with three groups, like the It's Still Real to Me fans, children, and women. Yeah. Everybody else is like, we don't care about Roman. But everybody loves Stone Cold. So that was more of like a shocking heel turn. This is a heel turn people wanted because I think Roman can portray a heel better. Because he's like, look at him. He's like, I'm 6 foot, 3, 4.
He's a jerk. That's why. He's like, I'm for him to be a jerk.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like in real life, he's a nice guy. Everything when you see they do the special backstage documentary things, he always seems like a really nice guy. But he can portray that like I'm better looking than you. I'm jacked. I'm the champion. He can portray that look really well. So, I'm excited for the heel turn. And I think, what would you rather see? Let's say he wins on Sunday. Would you rather have him win and be a babyface or win as a heel?
Oh, win as a heel. Win as a heel. Yeah, because like heel at least like, and then you can make the Fiend like a better babyface. So, there's a lot of avenues that you can go to. Like, a heel, I always tell you this. Heel is the best way to be if you're going to be a champion because you can, now that you have Heyman, you can screw up the finishers of the matches and all of that. So it's a good stuff. Like I said, I want to see where it goes, but like,
I would love to see something long-term booking. You get Jeff Hardy versus heel Roman Reigns as a champion. Jeff Hardy wins.
Oh, that would be cool too. And you even said the main feud is going to be Karrion when Karrion comes back, and then against a Roman heel. It's good. So we'll see. We'll see where this takes us, but it's going to be interesting. So Jean Paul, this wraps up the show for today. But remind everybody where they can find us in the social media world.
Well, you can find us on Facebook, Rope Break, Twitter, the OG Rope Break, Instagram, the original Rope Break, and right here on YouTube for the best podcast in the YouTube wrestling community.
That's right. So like tomorrow, we're going to have a little different, we're going to try, always new things. That's what we do on the weekend. So we're going to be, Jean Paul and I, of course, so we're going to be like talking a little bit of Payback. Maybe we'll mix it up with a little bit of news and stuff like that. It's going to be really good, so be there with us. So Jean Paul, you and me have one more thing that is left to say besides support us, subscribe, ring that bell. So, and that is Jean Paul. 1, 2, 3.